So excited to see everyone today. Such a good turnout to officially kick off the first official meeting of the task force for homelessness. And I'm going to call to order the task force. The official task force for homelessness will now come to order, and I'm going to do a roll call. If I call your organization, just state that you're here, state I, state present, or just stand. The Affordable Housing Task Force. All right. Alternatives for Girls. Present. Okay. The Assured Family Services. Community Housing Network. Community Health Corps. All right. Detroit Blight Busters. Detroit Continuum of Care. All right. The Detroit Phoenix Center. Detroit People's Platform. All right. We should be excited, right? The Detroit Police Department. Sarge. Okay. The Detroit Rescue Mission. Of course, where we are today. The Homeless Action Network of Detroit, HAN. All right. The Housing and Revitalization Department. Director Schneider, who will speak. The Matrix Human Services. All right. Mothering Justice. The Ruth Ellis Center. The Noah Project. All right. The Phoenix Center. And Vista Maria. All right, great. Well, give it up for yourselves. We appreciate you all coming out. First and foremost, I just want to thank you all for the work that you all do day in and day out, serving the population in Detroit that is experiencing housing instability or housing insecurities. We appreciate the work that you all do. And today we're here today to provide an update really on the state of homelessness in our city, allow service providers to give an overview of what they do so that residents can understand who does what throughout our city. I think a lot of us sometimes work in, silos. And so the more that we can coordinate services and bring everything under one umbrella for our residents, I believe is the best way. And so we're going to have a couple of presentations, and then we want to allow dialogue back and forth. So if you guys have questions, please raise your hand so that we can get those questions addressed. Before we move forward, I do want to recognize Chad Audie. Is he still here? Oh, he stepped out. Okay, when he comes back, we want to thank him for allowing us to host the meeting here today. All right, so with that being said, we're going to start off with our Director of Housing and Revitalization, and that is Director Schneider.
Hi, good evening. So first of all, thank you all for coming. This is, I think, the first event that I've been at like this in person since prior to the pandemic. So wonderful to see so many people here who want to talk about the state of housing and homelessness in the city of Detroit. So I'm just going to run through some information, data. I've been asked to talk about housing policy. I'm going to talk a lot about programs that reflect some of those policies, so you can see some of the how policy leads to how it's led to implementation for us. So kind of going back a little bit, in 2015, we started out by wanting to really define how we were investing the limited dollars for housing investment that we had through federal funds. At that point, we identified 3 areas that we really wanted to target: preserving existing affordable housing, developing transformative new affordable housing development projects, and really increasing the number of supporting housing units that we had in the city of Detroit. That intention and that policy setting within the department needed to translate into actual production. So there wasn't just an idea, but actually producing housing units for Detroiters. So that work translated into our work by working to increase the pipeline so that we had development projects that could actually get funded, trying to really work to make affordable housing preservation matter. I remember at the beginning of that particular work, when we would talk about preservation, everyone thought we were talking about historical preservation, which is great too, but it's not the type of preservation that I was, waking up every day wanting to focus on. So if you could go to the next slide. No, that's, there we go. There we go. Thank you. Do I have to point it at something?
Just click.
Oh, there we go. All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about affordable housing construction. So since 2015, there have been about 8,600 units of housing period that have either been completed or started construction. Of those, 2,000 units have some sort of rent or income restriction, meaning they either have, some of them might have rental assistance and vouchers, some of them might limit the rents that are being asked, and want to see that the households living within them are income qualified for those units. So I wanted to provide a breakdown of the different levels of rent that you see. A little more than half of those units have been at lower than 60% of the area median income. I wanted to say that to put on screen to show that the focus really has been on trying to create a diversity and a number of different housing options for Detroiters in all sorts of situations. So as a part of that work, I can't see what's happening. All right. I mentioned we really wanted to focus on supportive housing, and so I think when we started, there weren't many projects in the pipeline, and so that's a problem because there are funds available. There are funds available at the state level, but you have to have the projects to be able to access those funds. So far today, there are, I think, another 360 units either that are online or about to start construction today than just a couple of years ago, which is certainly a major increase. It probably doubles the number of supportive housing units we had in the city, but certainly have to do more. Sorry, this is a little awkward with the screen orientation. I just can't see if it's advanced.
You can't present from the mic too.
No, thank you. I'm good. I'm good. Feel more comfortable here. Through the American Rescue Plan Act, there was a special allocation of funding to construct supportive housing or to improve shelters. So the city of Detroit will receive $26 million. We expect to receive that in the next couple of months. And of that, 60% will be utilized to develop supportive housing. When we're talking about supportive housing, we're talking about a home, an apartment that has wraparound services that help to meet a person's behavioral, medical, and other day-to-day needs. And so we're also going to use some of the funds to invest in our service providers. It's incredibly important that we have the highest quality of services available to our residents. As this work has expanded and a lot of stress has been placed on everybody in the last couple of years, we want to make sure we're investing in our providers as well. We intend to invest in transferring a non-congregate facility, or a congregate facility to a non-congregate facility. We learned certainly during the pandemic the importance of having those types of spaces. And so we're going to continue to do this work through some of these funds available. Okay. I mentioned affordable housing preservation. So this has been a really major focus of our work. And the reason is some of these affordable housing units were created with resources that are no longer available. In addition to Section 8 vouchers that the Housing Commission provides, which is, they have roughly 6,000. There are about 9,000 additional vouchers in the area that are in these older affordable housing developments. They were created with a resource that no longer exists. So when you lose those units, that resource goes away. And so it was incredibly important for us to try to preserve every single one of those units to make sure that we were keeping all of the potential resources that we had available to be able to serve Detroiters. I know I was only given a couple minutes, so I don't want to take too long. But just wanted to kind of conclude with, so I've been in this job a little over a year, and I want to talk about what's next. So the last few years, we've really focused, like I said, on preserving affordable housing, creating affordable housing, and supportive housing. Those things are going to continue, absolutely. But I think what we are really looking at is how do we make sure we are keeping Detroiters stable in their homes. It's Detroiters who have stayed, and the reason that's who we work for, right? So that to me is my priority, right? And so how do we design our programs in such a way so that Detroiters are able to stay in their homes, grow in their homes, and really benefit from so much of the activity that we see happening today? So there's kind of two main categories of work. There's stabilizing housing by providing financial counseling, home ownership preparation, and then also investing in opportunities that help people achieve additional housing opportunities. So with me today I have David Bowser, who is the Associate Director of the City of Detroit's Housing and Revitalization Department, working on he's the Associate Director for Housing and Neighborhood Services. So I wanted him to talk, if that's okay, talk a little bit about the work that he is leading in a new office within the department that is really focused on stabilizing Detroiters who are facing acute housing destabilization.
Good evening. Thanks, Julie. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the new office that HRD is putting together called the Detroit Housing Services Office. So what this is going to be is a 60-person office that is meant to address the needs of individuals who have been displaced or who are maybe coming up on a displacement. And so philosophically, we believe firmly that an emergency displacement should not result in homelessness. So if you were evicted, if there was a fire in your building, if you have a bad landlord that forced you out of the home, this program is meant to address your needs, provide the case management needed, and also get you relocated to a new unit if that's what you want to do. So the way this is going to be formulated is that we're going to have a call center. Again, this is part of a larger initiative that Mayor Duggan is putting out as a $200 million affordable housing initiative. $20 million of that fund is going to be allocated to setting this new office up. And so we're going to have a division that focuses on keeping people in the home that they're in. So if you feel like you're approaching a displacement, if you feel like you need some legal assistance to stay in the home that you're in, we'll have case managers there to walk you through the process of actually getting that assistance. Our second division is going to be our emergency displacement division. So if you have been displaced, if there has been an eviction of some sort, if you've been displaced recently, this program will provide resources to get you stabilized. At times that could be a hotel stay or other resources, and then connect you to a case manager to gather the documents you need in order to find housing. And so once we've helped you do that over the course of 30 to 60 days, we transfer you over to our housing navigation team, which will use an internal database of landlord relationships that we have to actually place you in available housing. So what this is designed to do is make sure that the eviction crisis that we have right now, as programs like SARA that are paying for rent go away, this is going to take the place of those programs and make sure that individuals do not become permanently displaced. And so what does this mean for other partners like CAM? So what we're going to be looking to do is working with CAM. So if you do call the hotline looking for shelter, they're actually going to be able to ask you, what is it that displaced you? And if it's something that we were able to, or we're going to be able to address, instead of kind of flooding the shelter system with individuals who have been recently evicted or they had bad landlords, they would come to our program instead. And so we're looking to kind of alleviate some of the tension on our shelter system and our shelter partners, and also be able to walk individuals through the programs that they need in order to obtain housing. Again, it's going to be, kind of facilitated through a larger call center to make sure that everyone has access to the program. And we're going to have a variety of different partners, again, walking you through the processes to get the resources you need. A bulk of the $20 million that we're using for this will be for direct services. So we know that it's going to be difficult for people to, get a birth certificate or, even afford first month's rent security deposit. Maybe it's a vehicle not being repaired that's keeping you from working, which is then keeping you from being able to find a unit. We're going to be able to have the direct services available to actually fix those things for you. So as you're working with a case manager, as you're working with a team of individuals, we'll actually be able to lower some of those barriers so that residents do not end up homeless as a result of that displacement. In addition to that, our last piece here is building out a database of available housing resources. So we know as HRD is, kind of renovating buildings and creating new opportunities for individuals, we want to make sure that individuals have access to those buildings. And so we're going to be putting those opportunities on a website that's easily accessible by the public, and our internal team is going to be using that website to place people as well. And so we're going to have a few different teams just kind of focusing on different areas of the problem itself to make sure that we have available housing options for residents who have been displaced. So any questions, happy to take those.
All right, great. I think we'll do questions at the very end. Unless anyone has an immediate question, we'll save the questions to the end. All right. All right, is that it from the? Yeah. Okay. Let's give a round of applause to our Housing and Revitalization Department. And we'll now move to Housing Coordination Initiatives. And that's Ms. Tara Linzer.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Hear me through this mask? Yes? Okay. If you can't hear me, just let me know, and I'll be happy to take it off or speak louder. So for the City of Detroit, within HRD, we have a Homelessness Solutions Division. And that division manages the federal dollars that we receive from HUD to provide, that we then allocate to our nonprofit partners throughout the City of Detroit, many of whom are sitting in this room. So the main, we fund basically 5 types of programs: street outreach, emergency shelter that includes our warming centers, rapid rehousing, homelessness prevention, and then we have a small amount of money that goes into the coordinated entry system, known as CAM in here. So we invest about $5.2 million into the homelessness system. And if you can see on this chart, the bulk of our spending, or the bulk of our allocation goes towards supporting emergency shelters with about $2.4 million. The second largest is in regards to prevention, and then we have street outreach and around 800,000, and then I can't see this on the screen. Yeah, yep. And so that's the funding breakdown. So I wasn't sure who the audience was going to be. Many of you, this is information that you already have, but emergency shelters provide those overnight shelter stays for individuals that are facing homelessness that night. So we have different shelters for different population groups. So we have adult shelters, we have youth shelters, which we define as 18 to 24, and then we have family shelters. In the winter months, because we live in a cold climate, and we know that winter can pose additional safety risks for those who are sleeping outside, we bring online about 135 extra beds in the winter months that start in November and they end in March. For permanent housing options, and then we have street outreach. So street outreach is only for is only to provide services to folks who are living on the streets or other places not meant for human habitation, like abandoned buildings, bus stops, things of that nature. And so those outreach teams work with individuals first to see if they want to come indoors. If they don't want to come indoors, then the street outreach teams work with them while they're living on those streets to work with them on permanent housing, or if they choose shelter. And so they don't have to come inside to a shelter in order to get permanent housing. We try to meet people where they're at, and so we fund 5 different outreach teams that work 7 days a week, mainly during the day, and then we have a team each night of the week during the afternoon and late evening hours. The next thing that we fund is rapid rehousing, and so rapid rehousing is a program that provides case management and financial assistance. So they pay the rent and then they provide the services to folks who were originally living in shelter or they were living on the streets. So moving them from the shelter into an apartment of their own. They have a lease just like anyone else would have a lease. Services are not required, but they're encouraged, right? We want people to be successful in their housing. So they might need help with a few things. And they can stay into that program up until 24 months. And so this is the only kind of permanent housing option that HRD, through this funding, can provide. The next is prevention, and that's meant to keep people in their homes. So the majority of prevention funding that the city invests in is really to help fight evictions. So they can pay for back rental arrears, they can help with moving costs, they can pay for first month's rent, and they can even pay for a couple of months ongoing rental assistance if folks need that. But like I said, so partners that we fund for prevention include like Matrix Human Services, UCHC, United Community Housing Coalition, Legal Aid and Defender. And then finally, like I said, we do invest a small amount of dollars into the coordinated entry system as well. And so Scott will be talking about what that entails and how that works as part of our system.
All right. Thank you.
Everyone. My name is Tasha Gray, and I'm the Executive Director at the Homeless Action Network of Detroit, or some of you may know us as HAND. Just want to thank Council President Sheffield and all of you for just even being interested in the issue of homelessness. We know that it is a major problem in our city, but we're doing a lot of work to address it. And so I thank you all for all of the work that you all are doing. And I'm also excited, I see a lot of familiar faces in the audience, so it's good to see y'all. As my pastor say, it's good to be seen rather than viewed, okay? So I'm going to talk to you all a little bit about the homeless system. Tara and I work closely together. We're kind of counterparts in that work. You know, with the homeless system, it's once some of these efforts have not worked. So some of the efforts that Julie talked about, some of the efforts that David talked about in terms of the housing stability, well, when it gets to the homeless system, we've gone past the housing stability at that point. And so now we're trying to get them into housing and then help them to maintain housing off of the streets, right? So I believe there's some slides up there. If not, those are the CAM slides. There may be some. If not, I can talk us through it. No worries. I'm good at talking. It'll be good. All right, so first of all, I just want to share with you all just some numbers so you all know what the scope is out there. When I first started in a homeless system back in 2009, we were looking at numbers of about 19,000 people who were experiencing homelessness. And our 2021 numbers are way down. We're looking now at more about like 5,600 people who are experiencing homelessness. Some of that is a lot of the work that we did. Also, it's cleaning up some of the data, right? And making sure that we're really getting to the people who are experiencing homelessness. Of those about 5,600 unique individuals who are experiencing homelessness, about 60% of those are singles, which is probably not a surprise to you all. But what may be more alarming and surprising to you all is that like 29% of those are families. So that's at least one adult and one child in a household who are experiencing homelessness. About youth, which for HUD's purposes are under 24 and unaccompanied by an adult or a parent, those are about 9% of our system. And then alarming trend that we're beginning to see is seniors who are experiencing homelessness. About 24% of our homeless populations are seniors. So they're aging, and they're aging into homelessness. So we've got to do something about this, folks. There's a saying that you can tell a lot about a society by the way they treat their season, right? So we definitely need to do something about it. If you go to the next slide, I'm going to share with you all, that is not readable at all, but just pay attention to the trend lines, and I'll kind of talk you through it. So up top, the blue line is the number of folks who are in shelters. And as you can see, we have those two vertical lines. The first vertical line is at the start of the pandemic. And then the second line is when we started ramping up some of the outreach teams that Tara's team funds. So you can see that at the start of the pandemic, which is the first vertical line, that our shelter population dipped. And that was really a surprise for us. We thought that the shelter population was going to explode during the pandemic, but it dipped. And what we learned is a lot of people just didn't want to come into the shelters because there were a lot of congregate facilities. And so they were worried that in shelter, they were just going to catch COVID, right? And so there was a lot of effort on behalf of HRD to do a lot of social distancing in shelters and also provide some funding for folks to decongregate those shelters. So now you can see that past the pandemic, some of those numbers are ticking back up in our emergency shelters, not to the extent that they were before, but they're definitely ticking back up. Towards the end of this year, they're trending down, but we're going into the winter months, and we always see a rise in our homeless population in shelters during the winter months, so we expect those numbers to go up. That bottom line, the green line, is the unsheltered. So these are people who are living in their cars, living in the parks, on the streets, that have touched our system. And I have to say that because we don't know who's all out there, because some people just don't even interact with our system. So these are the people that we are able to count, but there are many people out there that we haven't even counted. So you can always count on these are probably an undercount and don't fully represent who's all homeless in our system. But you can see that there is a slight increase in people who are unsheltered. And so there's a lot of work to be done with that. And we've made some measurable progress with some of our outreach teams, but we definitely have some work to go. Next slide, please. And so again, hopefully these slides will go out later so that you all can actually see it, because it's a lot of information on there. But I just want to walk you all through the homeless response system. Part of the work that HAND does is coordinating the homeless response system. So you will see we're a convener of collaborators and partners. We often bring together the service providers, nonprofits, our local government entities, all of the folks around the tables and the stakeholders that have anything to do with housing or services for people experiencing homelessness. And so this is our homeless response system. Most likely, people are going to touch our homeless system in two ways. They're either going to enter the homeless system through street outreach teams, or they will enter the homeless system through CAM, which my partner down at the end, Scott Jackson, is going to talk about a little bit later. But usually people who are unsheltered will enter through the street outreach team. So there are teams, as Tara mentioned, that are going out, early hours, late hours, going out and making contact with those people experiencing homelessness and building relationships to hopefully get them to come into the system. Because this work is also about relationships. So just because we have teams out there doesn't mean that people are willing to come in. Those relationships have to be built. So either way they enter into the system, whether it's through the street outreach team or through CAM, there is going to be an assessment that is done. Part of what we try to do is to divert someone from the system. It's much easier to keep someone out of the system than it is once they get in the system. It's going to take us some time to kind of work them through the system. So we rather divert them if the diversion is truly going to solve their homelessness. And so Scott's team down there, they do some work around diversion, seeing it's problem solving, seeing what other resources haven't they tapped into before they go into the homeless system. So is there a cousin, an uncle, or even a church or someone who is willing to assist you? If we're not able to divert, then an assessment is done to determine the appropriate placement in an emergency shelter, and or if they're able to self-resolve their homelessness. They'll go into emergency shelter, and once they're in emergency shelter, they are working with the CAM team to determine if their more longer-term resources are needed. So if they need permanent housing placement, rapid rehousing placement, transitional housing placement, that's typically how people flow through our system. And the hope is that after they've been stably housed in one of those permanent placements, that they are able to exit out of the homeless system and be self-sufficient, whatever that may mean for that household. So that is typically how people flow through our system. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Scott Jackson. I'm a program supervisor with CAM. And so just wanted to speak briefly. Both Tasha and Tara mentioned that CAM is the way that folks access our homelessness response system. And so as Tasha just gave a great picture, there's a lot of programs in the community. There's housing programs, there's shelter, and CAM really is the process that connects people experiencing homelessness to those programs. So every community, including Detroit, that receives federal funding to address homelessness is required to operate what's called a coordinated entry system. CAM is our local term for it, so you might hear kind of both of those terms interchangeably. And really the idea is to have a front door to provide centralized access to those services. And so the first part of that process really starts with access. So anyone that is presenting to us, thank you, our first priority is making sure they have a safe place to stay for that night and to address that immediate need. So our focus is really on people who are immediately experiencing homelessness. I don't have a place to go tonight. What am I going to do? And so as Tasha said, we're looking at kind of all of our options to make sure that someone has a safe place to stay. If they don't have a place in the community, then we'll look at referring them to emergency shelter or coordinating with our street outreach teams to connect with them as well. And so that's kind of the immediate focus. But then the second part is connecting folks to those permanent housing resources that our great partners in the community provide. So after we've addressed that immediate need, we're also managing the process to assess people and prioritize resources as they become available. So unfortunately, there's not currently enough resources to serve every person who's currently experiencing homelessness. And so there is a process in place where we're assessing people's unique situation and their vulnerability. And then as, let's say, AFG has an opening for one of their programs, they'll let us know, and we'll refer someone to that program based off of that prioritization. So that's really the process in a nutshell. I'm happy to address more questions about it. And then I did put just information on this slide about where folks can go to seek that assistance. And so we have one main location at 1600 Porter Street that anyone can come into during our open hours. We also work out of the VA for veterans. And we additionally have a helpline that folks can call into as well. After hours, so generally we are open to 6 p.m. on weekdays, but certainly homelessness doesn't stop at a 9 to 5 workday. So all of our shelter partners should be accepting people to walk into for that night if someone just shows up at that shelter, and then we'll try and connect with them the next day.
All right, thank you.
Perfect. Hi, everybody. My name's Katie Giza. I'm with the Homeless Action Network of Detroit. I am going to talk to you about some of the work we've been doing around youth homelessness in particular. My slides are a little bit tricky. They were in the same slide deck that Tasha and I had, and then they started on slide 5. So I'm going to go ahead and get going, though. And kind of the biggest thing that's been happening in the realm of our system's efforts to address youth homelessness is that our community was awarded to be a recipient of what's known as the Youth Homelessness Demonstration Program. And so if you go to the next slide, to explain what the Youth Homelessness Demonstration Program, we call it YHDP for short. So YHDP, I like to think of it both as a funding opportunity and as a process. And so our community applied to not only receive funding, but to also receive some targeted assistance to really do some strategic work to address youth homelessness, and to really try to develop a comprehensive plan for how we want to work as a community to end homelessness for youth. And so this next slide kind of shows the timeline of the YHDP process. It might be a little bit small, but I'll talk you through it. So we applied for this funding back in July of 2021. This was our community's third time applying for it, and thankfully, third time was the charm, and so we were able to be awarded. So we were notified in September that Detroit was awarded $5.7 million to address youth homelessness. I know, very exciting. And that launched our community into a coordinated community planning process where we really spent about 8 months working to develop a strategic plan for how we wanted to work to end youth homelessness and how we wanted to incorporate the YHDP funding, but obviously it's going to take more than $5.7 million to end youth homelessness. And so we really tried to think comprehensively. And I'll talk a little bit more about that process in a second, but really the goal of that process was to have youth be driving the conversation and to really work to shape a plan that's centered around youth voice. And then after the strategic planning process, we submitted that plan to HUD. We were approved for our plan in May, which then allowed us to apply for the projects that we wanted to use the funding for. And we just signed the contracts with HUD, I think, last week. And now we're working to select agencies who will implement those projects in our community. And then after that, we'll work to get those projects online, and then we'll also be simultaneously working to implement the steps in our coordinated community plan to really try to make strides towards ending youth homelessness. This next slide kind of shows what steps we took in developing the plan. I'm going to go through some of this information quickly. I've brought handouts if folks are interested that really talks in depth about the YHDP process that I'm happy to share with you all. But what I really want to highlight about our planning process was that we really strive to have this be driven by youth. And really centered around the voices of youth. And I think really the only way that we're going to be able to be successful in our efforts to end youth homelessness is if we're letting youth drive the choices that we're making, telling us what they need, how they want us to respond to their needs, and really being responsive to that. And so we're trying to live into that vision through this work. And so over that 8 months, we did a lot of kind of intensive work. We did 18 listening sessions with youth to talk about an intensive number of topics. We met weekly to have planning conversations. We did a deep dive into data. We held 3 community stakeholder meetings. We had one-on-one conversations with a number of different partners and providers, and we also held convenings with different system partners: juvenile justice, child welfare, the education system, and the mental health system, to really try to talk through how we can be comprehensive in our response. And so the next slide kind of shows the vision that we developed. This vision was written fully by youth, and so as we work to honor this vision, this is how youth feel that our vision should be. Actually, it's the last one was the vision I see, but yep, that one is our vision. It is really small, but our shared mission and vision for youth and young, our shared mission and vision is for youth and young adult voices to be centered and elevated in our collective efforts toward building an equitable and inclusive community where youth and young adults of all backgrounds, including LGBTQ plus youth, BIPOC youth, parenting youth, etc., have access to safe, stable, and affordable housing, supportive services that use a community-coordinated response to offer educational and employment opportunities, spreading awareness of resources through building permanent connections, and any other resources and services that ensure youth homelessness is rare, brief, and non-recurring. And so I'm going to just kind of, for the sake of time, I'm probably not going to go through all the rest of my slides on here, but there's more information in this document, but really, through this YHDP work, we are going to be bringing online a few different projects. We're going to be bringing on a permanent supportive housing project, which I know we talked about what permanent supportive housing is, that's focused just for youth. We're going to be bringing on a joint component transitional housing and rapid rehousing project. So the goal is to kind of offer some immediate stabilizing services in transitional housing and then transition youth to a more permanent housing resource. And then we're also bringing on a crisis mental health response team. One of the things that was really elevated in our conversations, the most recurrent theme was to address youth homelessness, we have to support youth in their mental health. And so we're working to create a crisis mental health response team that will work to support youth in a mental health crisis and try to prevent that crisis from contributing to them returning to homelessness. And Yeah, so there's a lot of exciting work that's happening. Coming up next, like I said, we're going to be working to ramp these projects up. We're going to be working to partner with the other systems to really create some greater coordination between the homeless response system and the other systems that youth interact with. We're working on developing a plan for how we can evaluate this and track the progress. We're also working on bringing in additional funders to fund some of the items in the coordinated community plan that we weren't able to fund with the HUD funding. And we're really hoping to live into our vision to create a responsive system that's centered around the voices of youth.
Thank you. And Ms. Cecilia. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Can y'all hear me? Okay. I'm Celia Thomas, and I am a staff member at Alternatives for Girls, but this evening I'm here representing the COC, the Continuum of Care. I happen to be the chairperson of the COC board. And Tasha alluded to the whole concept of COC when she mentioned and showed the slide that describes the city and the city's homeless response system. So the homeless response system is essentially considered the continuum of care, and all of the providers come together to be a part of the COC, the continuum of care, and we work on developing goals and pursuing initiatives and just trying to stick together to work towards ending homelessness, right? Addressing homelessness as it exists now, and then positioning ourselves to be able to, at some point in time, end homelessness in the city of Detroit. So this evening I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about one area of focus, and it's around shelter. And I wanted to share with you what shelter looks like and what shelter cleanliness, how we're addressing shelter cleanliness. So the state of Michigan, their Department of Health and Human Services, and the city of Detroit fund many of the shelters across the city of Detroit. And in that vein, both of those entities, right, State of Michigan, DHHS, and City of Detroit, both of them enter into contracts with providers to provide emergency shelter for people experiencing homelessness. And those also include contracts when it's wintertime for warming centers, and if it's absurdly hot, then the city will open some cooling centers. So contracts exist across the city of Detroit for providers in the shelter space. Right now, the city of Detroit funds the following shelters. I'll run through them really quickly. For the Detroit Rescue Mission, they fund 3rd Street, West Chicago, Oasis, the 3rd Street Warming Center, and the Mac Family Warming Center. The city funds Cass Community Social Services Family Center and the Cass Warming Center. They fund the COTS Family Shelter. They fund Alternatives for Girls. We're a youth shelter. They fund the Covenant House Youth Shelter, Freedom House, Salvation Army Family Center, Michigan Veteran Foundation Shelter Program, Neighborhood Services Organization, NSO, Operation Get Down, and the YWCA Domestic Violence Shelter. As providers seek to give shelter to people experiencing homelessness, they're required to respond to or submit a grant application to the city for that funding. In that application, they are asked about both their physical space and their physical space, the quality of it, and their service capacity and the quality of their service capacity. So for example, at Alternatives for Girls, we say we want to serve youth and young adults, and we want to provide not just the bed in a room, but we want to provide the bed in a room and some case management and some clinical support. We have to demonstrate that the people providing the clinical support are licensed clinicians, so bachelor's level social workers and master's level social workers, for example. And as a part of a contract with the city, we are also responsible for meeting certain benchmarks regarding things like utilization, how many people are coming to our shelter program, what kinds of services they're receiving, etc., and how we work to support people experiencing homelessness to exit the shelter system within a timely manner. Shelter is never intended to be long-term, right? It really is intended to be short-term. And so we work, most of our shelters, all of our shelters, as far as the city contracts are concerned, are working to ensure that we don't have people living there for 6 months and 2 years and those kinds of things, right? We really are focused on allowing them in, providing the shelter-related services that they need, and then working with other partners to get them out into more suitable and stable and sustainable housing options. And I was mentioning those benchmarks that we're looking at, the utilization rate, how smoothly we're moving them out into other housing options, represent some of the measures related to ensuring that we are providing quality services. The other thing that happens is, at any point in time, we have to maintain a license, a city license, to be a shelter. Now, at this point, according to the records with the city, the funded shelters either all have licenses or are in the process with their licenses. And sometimes when I say process, it might mean that they're a new shelter provider, so they have to go through and get everything in order to finish and complete, to secure their license. The other thing that happens is, in order to be a part of this shelter system and have the license, you have to have fire safety inspections, and you have to have the environmental health and safety inspections. So we all have that expectation that once a year to twice a year, we will have the fire safety inspector in and the environmental safety inspectors in, looking around, pushing doors, making sure that the other day they were at AFG and they were checking to make sure the vent over the stove, that we clean the filters on the vent over the stove. So they tend to be really meticulous about monitoring the quality of even the building, right? So that's kind of how it flows. As we look at whether or when the city comes out for monitoring visits, the city has a process that they use to determine what the risk level is for a shelter provider. And as they go through, they will make sure that if the shelter is scoring high in risk, they would be scheduled for the on-site, meaning they're coming into the building, coming into the shelter space to walk around and do on-site monitoring. So they're coming in and looking around, opening doors, asking questions, those kinds of things are happening. If the risk appears to be low based on the city's risk assessment, then we would undergo what we call a virtual, right, a remote assessment of activities happening in our shelter at any point in time. And every single shelter receives a walkthrough, an on-site visit by City of Detroit Housing and Revitalization Department at least once every 2 years or more if there are complaints or grievances about the shelter. So that's what it looks like. Now, you might ask your question, who should people call if they have concerns about a shelter provider or a warming center or a cooling center? And in the continuum of care, we operate together to monitor complaints and grievances coming from the public, whether that's an individual client, participant who is using one of those shelter facilities, or even sometimes agencies can make complaints for something that they feel they've been wronged with. And so people can file grievances via form. There's a form The form is located in a number of different places, including this. The agency itself is supposed to make those forms available in case anyone wants to file a complaint. The form is also located with HAND on the HAND website. And if a person wants to file their complaint, a couple things, they can file it directly with the agency that they're complaining against. Obviously, that makes it challenging, and the issue related to whether or not an agency will truly address something if I'm only filing it arises. So the other place they can file their complaint is with the COC, and the COC lead agency, HAND, monitors those complaints. They deliver complaints to the COC board subcommittee, which is a grievance committee of the COC board, and those folk on the grievance committee process all those complaints as they come to us. One thing to notice is that because the COC itself does not fund shelters, but we participate as a part of the monitoring board for complaints. If a complaint comes in and it's against one of the shelters, which the city funds, or of course, in this case, if the Department of Health and Human Services funds them, when the complaint comes in, we do forward that complaint to the funder for them to address. And then at that point, we are monitoring to see how things turn out. That ends my part, and really as we move to the section where we're going to have questions, obviously my partners are here, so I'm waiting to hear questions as well.
All right. We can give everyone a round of applause for their time and their presentations. We appreciate everyone. And at this moment, we will open it up for questions. If anyone has any questions, concerns, comments, we would love to hear from you all. We have time for some questions. So if anyone wants to just raise their hand, you can come to the microphone and just ask your questions. Yep.
I came in late, so I do apologize. I don't know if anybody spoke to recidivism in the shelter system. And then the other part is, I know, hold on, I want to get her name right. Spoke Cecilia Thomas with the continuum in hand. I'm real familiar with it. Has anybody looked at the individuals and assessing, I know it's housing first, their mental health before sending them to the shelters? So my name is Nellie Jenkins Kendrick. I'm the director of all the treatment programs for Detroit Rescue Mission Ministry. So I have a couple programs based on treatment. I manage the case management grant for the VA, so I'm familiar with the by name list, but I actually have another program in the West Chicago side, another side, and I see individuals that I've tried to engage on a clinical piece that I know that we want to end homelessness, but with their mental health, there's recidivism, and that recidivism, they may come from Alternatives for Girl when they age out. They'll end up at St. John, they'll end up at Salvation Army and here. So has anybody took a look at doing assessment there and maybe even getting these individuals an opportunity to do, I hate to hear the word long-term hospital, but that care for that mental health, because we've had clients that went from NSO to Detroit Rescue Mission Ministry. So I can sit down and y'all can answer the question.
Sure, I can. Oh, Celia, did you want to go first? Okay. So we currently have a pilot program that is working with community mental health providers, Central City Integrated Health, and an outreach team, Motor City Mission, that are providing outreach together. And it's targeted for individuals who have a mental illness or may appear to have a mental illness and who are experiencing unsheltered homelessness. And the goal of that program is to help get them into behavioral health services while also working on their housing. We can't obviously say you have to do this behavioral health services in order to get housing, right? We know people need housing in order to stabilize, which helps improve their mental health. So that's one pilot program that we've been implementing for about a year, so try to address both needs at the same time. The other thing is that our many of our emergency shelter providers, like the Rescue Mission and others, also have behavioral health programs. And so having that connection for the shelter staff to help identify and to really do some motivational interviewing, harm reduction, to try to get them into services while they might be in shelter is also a really good tool. About very challenging sometimes, right? But for our shelter system, the first thing is that we want to make sure that anyone can be provided a bed regardless of substance use or mental health services, because we know that the risk of sleeping outdoors to have negative health consequences is just too high. So there's definitely greater partnership between behavioral health and our homelessness system, and that's something that we're trying to look at and trying to strengthen that partnership. We have somebody from the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network that sits on the COC board. And so we're really trying to do more coordination, because oftentimes we're serving a lot of the same folks, but we're still very much in silos. So we're trying to break down those silos by having pilot programs such as this one with Motor City and Central City Integrated Health. Yeah.
So, you want to add anything else? You might want to come to the mic just so everyone can hear you, and this is being recorded as well.
So because I work with the program through Samson where we house them. We're trying to do this big mapping piece, and we work on a program for COIN where we're trying to get individuals and coordinate the mental health and the homeless. And my project manager from Washington is real big on that. I think they should be housed, but there has to be some type of assessment, because they're hard to engage, and I know some may spend 2 years at some place. It would be in a real ideal world that they're only housed for 6 months. We've had individuals that y'all help them through hand get a voucher, and they won't take the housing. So I just know that that's a crucial piece to end that recidivism. So.
No, it absolutely is, and I appreciate it. And we are trying to strengthen those relationships and provide services at the same time so that they're not so siloed. Celia, I don't know if you had anything else to add.
You know, all of our shelter providers are supposed to demonstrate the capacity to have what we call low barriers, so that we won't turn someone away because when they show up at the door they appear to have a mental health challenge. We won't. And what we do is let them in. We try to have them stay stable, while in my case, my agency's case, we have the case managers and the counselors looking for the other resources that are available for them, and just making those connections as the person continues to stay with us. Most of our providers, I think that's what's happening with you guys at the Rescue Mission, right? We let folk in, try to make them as comfortable as possible, provide their food and, you know, some safety, and then we continue to work with all the other partners to figure out how to truly and sustainably address their needs.
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Just one thing to add to that. One of the programs I had mentioned that we're doing on the youth homeless side of things is the crisis mental health team. And to the point that you were making, I think that's one of the things we talked in depth about that we're hoping to address with this on the youth side is recognizing that sometimes a youth may go into a mental health crisis that could put their ability to stay at the shelter in risk. And so really trying to create that response to really try to mitigate that crisis and provide some immediate, fast-acting 24/7 support to a youth to help de-escalate the situation, allow them to stay in the shelter. And then the goal is to then work with Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network to make connections to long-term permanent mental health supports for the youth. So provide that kind of immediate response and then make those longer term connections. And I think this is kind of something brand new for us to do as a homeless response system. And so I think as we pilot this program, we may be able to learn some lessons that we can hopefully then kind of expand out to other populations as well.
Thank you. So, sir, if you want to come up too as well. You sure? Okay. Just come after.
Hello, thank you again for this. I'm Mina Davis. I'm the Executive Director of All Things Women. And fortunately and unfortunately, whenever somebody searches for a shelter, because my organization begins with an A, I get the first call. I get the call before CAM, and so I spend a lot of time saying 305-0311, which is okay. That's part of what we all signed up to do. So, but what I've noticed probably in the last couple of months, maybe 4 or 5 months, is that I'm getting probably 8 to 9 calls a day from women who are sleeping in their vehicles. We've even tried to set up a program where they can come, park at our location, because if we're full, provide some hot meals, a shower, but it seems like that number is climbing. And I know it wasn't kind of representative on your chart, but as a person who's getting those calls, they're parking in front of our, our location, or they're just calling saying, can I just spend a night, or is there just, is there electricity? Can we use your Wi-Fi? So I think it would be a good time for the community to start talking about how to identify these women. Recently, we had one who said she parked her vehicle where her friend lived in an apartment complex and would just move it every couple of days, and that's how she lived. And she could go up into her friend's apartment and shower, and she did that for almost 7 months with a 3-year-old. So I think we should start talking about that's happening a lot more, as evictions, as rental rates have gone up, shelters are full, that's happening a whole lot more, and we need to figure out how we can, one, identify them, outreach to them, and then get them into some kind of programming. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, should I address it? Okay. Thank you so much for bringing that up. We do actually have an outreach provider here tonight. Zach, are you here? Hi, Zach. He's right actually behind you. I'm wondering, Zach, can you make connections with Ms. Davis? And there's also, so one is we can make direct connections to outreach workers. There's also an outreach request form that it's on the City of Detroit's website. You can fill out, and then if you fill that out, we have an outreach team that goes out within 24 hours to that location to outreach that individual, because we know that, like Tasha mentioned, we don't see everybody that we need to see, right? And so we're trying to create better connections with community partners like yourself, so that we can have outreach teams go out and help these individuals that need that assistance. So I can also speak to you after and let you know about that website. And then Zach, if you could please talk with Ms. Davis, and so that you could outreach at that location as well.
And where is Zach with the housing department?
Yeah, it's on HRD's.
Is he with community health?
Oh, sorry, Zach is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Zach is with Cass Community Social Services.
Okay.
It's an agency that provides street outreach that
Okay.
HRD funds. I apologize.
I think we also have a representative from the Community Health Corps. Are you all here? Yes. Oh, okay. So they're doing intake, from my understanding, as well, too, correct? Okay. I just wanted to make sure you guys were here. Okay. All right. Ms. Lyles?
Good evening, all, and thank you for putting this on. My question, and if I missed it, please forgive me, but my question is about the youth. So when I heard you, I'm like, oh, perfect segue. And families, I haven't heard anything about ensuring the education of homeless youth. If we don't break the cycle, what do we expect we're going to get? So if someone can address the education and making sure they're going to school or getting into schools, that would be great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Is this on? Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Happy to talk about that. So I completely agree with you that education is kind of an essential piece of a comprehensive response to support youth who are experiencing homelessness. We have actually in our coordinated community plan, we have an entire goal devoted to education and making connections with the education system for youth. One of the things I didn't mention, I did mention that we had an education convening where we've actually had 2 education convenings with a various number of education providers to really try to kind of make those connections between the homeless system and the education system. And we also have a referral process in place, and I might let Scott speak to this a little bit more, of how when someone with minor children accesses the system, there are connections that are made to really try to make sure that they're connected to the homeless liaison with the Detroit Public School System to really try to make those connections for education. But Scott, I'll kind of let you talk more.
Sure. Thanks, Katie. Yes, so as Katie mentioned, we do, every time a family with children presents to CAM, we do an assessment to just learn more about their situation and any children in the family and whether they're enrolled in school, where they're going to school, and if they're not enrolled in school or need additional support, we make a referral. It previously was to Wayne Metro. There's been some transition, but partnering with Wayne RESA, which is the Regional Education Authority, to make sure that those families get connected to what's called their McKinney-Vento resources. So all homeless children are entitled to certain rights, including the right to an education, the right to stay at the school that they were going to, even if they, might be in between various locations. And so we make that referral over so that the education system then can connect with that family and shelter. I definitely think there's opportunities to strengthen that partnership and look at ways that we can expand upon that, because I agree that's a critical issue.
All right, thank you. Christy.
Good evening. I'm Christy Love. I have a nonprofit called Thoughts Become Things, also an employee with the City of Detroit. I have a question. So with our nonprofit, we have a program where we're working on self-sufficiency for limited income families. And I get a lot of calls throughout the month with people asking me just about housing, needing a place to stay and things like that. Are you guys open to putting together events where you have like prevention services and resources available to give people more information on how to navigate around that, especially like before the winter time or, before it gets worse comes?
I can certainly speak to CAMSA, and I think we'd definitely be open to that. I know we've tried to have more increased presence in the community and build more community partnerships. I think both so that folks know about us and how to connect to those services, and also to connect more with all of the great services that are in the community that we might not be aware of, and so that we can help facilitate those connections. So I would say we are happy to connect. I imagine the COC in the city would be as well, but I'd defer to them.
Most definitely. And I think, a part of why we're here today is to bring all the resources together, and we were hoping people who are experiencing homelessness would have been here or know people who, some of you all may know people who may be experiencing homelessness, and you could share these resources with them. So, but I would love to partner with you. When we do Occupy the Corner, when we're in the community, we try to bring resources directly into the neighborhoods as well to connect people. So if you have any ideas, let us know, but we would love to help support you on that. All right, go right ahead.
Hey, how you doing? This question's for Dave, actually. You had spoke about a landlord database, like a landlord listing for the public. Would those listings be low barrier, so meaning prospective landlords know that these individuals will be coming with lower income, they would be coming with recent evictions, things like that, or would it just be a stock database to where they could upload properties?
Yeah, so there's kind of two components that we're building out on it. So this is a new effort. One is kind of the regulated affordable housing universe, and that will really be public facing. We're trying to make sure whatever we're listing on there we can speak to some sort of quality with it, rather than just anybody listing any property. On the other side of things, what Dave and his team are going to be doing is really not just making referrals, but having really build those relationships with landlords and make sure that those relationships reflect what we're trying to do with that particular program, which is house people that are coming from either facing eviction or some sort of kind of acute housing problem. So that'll certainly be a part of our program in the conversations that our tenant navigators are having with landlords, so that we also want to make sure that people can afford the housing that we're identifying as well. So,
yeah, I mean, that sums it up. I mean, so it's going to be a two-sided system. The public system is going to be based on AMI. so area median income. But our internal system is going to be made through relationships with landlords. So once we have a client, we will figure out exactly what their income is and then go looking for housing options specifically for them. So it's going to be a very kind of tailored approach to housing navigation that we're going to be using on the internal side of the program. But, you know, as Julie said, there's a lot of different standards that we have to use in order to post a house or post a unit online. So that's why we're making the call center or the program very readily available to everyone through the call center so that we can get that one-on-one approach to housing options for individuals.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ms. Covington from Community Health Corps. I've worked as a community health coordinator, intake specialist, and now a resource coordinator with the organization. My question is, we do get a lot of calls about homelessness, and one of the greater issues that we are facing is families. And I have had families that have reached out to COTS multiple times, have reached out to CAM multiple times, and have been rejected multiple times, and not just because of them being full, but then it's we don't have enough room for your family. We can't expect people to split up families with minors. I had a lady who had 9 children. All of her children were under the age of 15. She was asked by the shelter, the only way that we can house you is if we take part of your children here and leave the other portion here. How do we answer situations such as that? I have a gentleman I took an intake for today who is homeless with 6 children. His car has been towed, and now today he's proclaiming he'll be sleeping under a bridge. How do I respond to these people? What level of comfort do I give them? And what resources do you have for families that are beyond 1 or 2 people that are in the household?
Scott, do you want to talk about the CAM process?
Sure. I can speak to, yes, I think that is a huge challenge. I think at CAM we're always trying to serve families as a unit, and I agree that families should never be split up. I think it is very challenging on our end working with the resources that we have available. I think we all know that many of the shelters are at capacity right now, and so I think we look at any alternative solution, and the shelters are presenting what they have open to us, and we have to work within that. So that's not a good answer to that question. I think it's something that the city needs to figure out how to address. I think it's definitely an ongoing challenge that we experience. Figuring out how to address larger families in particular is quite challenging, and a lot of our shelters just in their basic buildings aren't set up necessarily to accommodate larger families, and so that's not really a solution to the question you raise, other than I think we're definitely aware of it and experience that challenge as well.
So I just had Scott address the CAM entry, but while CAM is the front door, it's not a CAM's responsibility, it's our system responsibility to make sure that we have the type and the number of shelter beds that we need. And so one of, like we said, like there's no, I wish I could say that like for every single person that needs emergency shelter that night, we can make sure that they have a bed. We can't say that right now. What we can say is that what we're trying to do is, one, for that immediate assistance, is that working with our emergency shelters to know that if you do have a family that's coming in, if you don't have a bed, to have air mattresses, to have chairs, something, and so the next day we can work with CAM. We're often working with our shelter systems, making phone calls. My staff are working with the different shelter providers to see how we can make additional space for families, and it's never ever the goal to split families up ever, right? We want families to be able to stay together. Being homeless is traumatic enough, but being separated from your loved ones adds an additional trauma. And so we do recognize that. It is something that we're looking at when we're trying to look at these trends as to what will happen with homelessness in the future. That's I think what David Bowser's this new addition to HRD is to really try to strengthen that front door to prevent as many families as possible and single adults from entering into our homelessness system by having these additional prevention resources. David, you wanted to?
Yeah, one of the commitments of the new office is, again, kind of looking to alleviate some of the pressure on the shelter system. And so with the funds that we have, we may be able to, if there's no room at a shelter, for instance, we may be able to provide a temporary hotel stay and allow that person to try again on a different day. We do recognize that, we don't want individuals turned away from shelters. And so we're going to be working really closely with CAM to know what the capacity is, working a little bit more upstream to make sure individuals don't get displaced. But if they do get displaced, we're going to have to partner to create the capacity for individuals overnight, obviously. So that's one of the commitments of the new office, is really, again, to alleviate some of that pressure on the system so that individuals can access the resources that they need for that night.
Greg Anderson, Executive Director of the City of Detroit Community Health Corps. And many of you all we work with already closely, Julie, David, others, we refer people to you all. And as you see by our intake specialists, we get the calls. And so we want to know how to better connect. I have two questions, actually. I'm not sure if it's for the panel or somebody in the audience may be able to answer. But for the supportive housing units that you have that provide that holistic service, what are the resources that you're having difficulty connecting to? And the second question is, how can an advanced resource navigation program like the Community Health Corps assist you all with moving people through the housing continuum?
I'm going to ask for clarification on your first question. When you said, what are the, can you restate the first question?
So the first question is like, we'll take the Clay Apartments.
Mm-hmm.
This is a housing, supportive housing mechanism or programming. So it's holistic, it's wraparound. With wraparound, you got employment, you got mental health, behavioral health, and I want to understand, what is that type of agency or that type of program and having difficulty connecting to?
Okay. Yeah. So I would just say in general, for our homeless system, one of the issues that we find is just really having enough resources for services in general. So thorough case management. A lot of times with HUD funding, and it's changing, but historically HUD funding had been for funding units. It wasn't necessarily for funding services for those units, right? And we have not had a lot of other resources to be able to tap in to get those services. And so we've done some recent assessments where we've looked at some of our permanent supportive housing resources and the ratios of case managers to the staff. And we know that the ratios are very high, much higher than some of the other communities, because we don't have those funding streams that allows us to just tap into services that are outside of what comes with housing. So there are some challenges there. I think also this was brought up earlier, mental health. Connecting with mental health services is a challenge as well. We have some of our providers who have behavioral health programs already, but for those agencies where they're really just trying to provide housing, they're finding it difficult to navigate the system to connect folks to get mental health services. So those are a few, but I'm sure that there are others as well.
Other that I want to highlight is that we hear a lot from all of our providers, a barrier that they have to making that transition from being homeless to housed also is getting connected to vital docs. Oftentimes you need a driver's license, or you need a birth certificate, or some people need help getting connected to Social Security benefits, and all of these processes tend to take a long time, which tend to bottleneck people and keep them stuck in the system before we can move them into housing. So I think that could also possibly be another area for support.
Hi, my name is Allison Putt. I'm the manager for Public Policy and Advocacy Strategy at Detroit People's Platform. So I'm really, really excited and glad to see everyone here today, because this is a topic that's urgently needed to be addressed in this city. I have a couple quick points and then I think a two-part question. So First of all, I was very excited to hear that there are upwards of 8,000 units being produced at the affordable level in the city over the last couple of years. But one of the things that's really concerning with that is that we know from the recently published stat report that nearly 12,000 Detroiters are evicted every year. And that's forcible displacement. So, you know, there's a mismatch there between the need and the court process, the sanitized forcible displacement of large amounts of Detroiters. So there's that. And then we also know from residents that we speak to frequently through our work, and then everything I'm hearing today from other service providers here, women and children are the most deeply affected by this, and they're a growing proportion. So 29% of sheltered individuals are families. So now to my questions. So I noticed that you had mentioned units, and I just want to clarify specificity. Sorry, Julie. Specificity in my question. So when you say units, I'm assuming those are units of a multi-family building. And the reason I ask that is because the vast majority of housing in this city, or at least a very large proportion of it, is in single-family homes. So what are we doing to preserve the naturally occurring affordable housing in those homes, aside from a simple navigation tool? And also because if we have a growing number of families in the shelters, that means a growing number of families need housing, and 1 or 2 bedroom units aren't necessarily going to be adequate to meet that need. So, sorry, I know that's a lot, but thank you.
Okay, so I want to clarify to make sure we're on the same page, because I wanted to share that data because we often have conversations about AMI, and we talk about, well, we're only producing 80% units, and those exist, but there's also more being produced, and so I wanted to put that up there to make sure that we're all working from the same information. But what that said is that 8,000 units total, but 2,000 more affordable, 2,000 more rent restricted. So I just want to make sure that we're on the same page there. So they generally are going to be some sort of higher density housing. Some are townhouses. Some are going to be 30-unit buildings, some are 60-unit. Because we're using low-income housing tax credits, it's very difficult to build something larger than 60 units. Really now, with the way the construction costs have gone up, I really see that that's going to push down the overall number of units that we're able to construct. So you're right, most Detroiters live in single-family housing. It's the majority of our housing stack. When other places were building more apartment buildings, in Detroit, we were building predominantly single-family housing. And so for families and for most Detroiters, people think about living in single-family homes. Not for everybody, but that is the reality of our housing stock. So a couple of things that we're trying to do with some ARPA dollars to see if we can improve the quality of our rental housing stock, particularly in single-family homes, because I think it's been widely reported that not many properties have a certificate of compliance, which we want families to live in quality housing. We want everybody to live in quality housing. But the resources to be able to try to improve that housing stack have just they've just been limited, and our ability to construct new single-family housing right now it's cost prohibitive in a very kind of untouchable way right now for the way construction costs have gone up. So those programs that I mentioned are we have some funding that is going to try to incentivize landlords to bring their properties into compliance. And I mean, I want to see that program be successful and then be able to multiply it and continue it going. We also want to try to help people who are interested in home ownership become homeowners, as that does reduce the risk of eviction. But it also gives people a much more a stable place to live in the long term. And I know that's not a reality for everybody, but it is something that we want to make sure that if people are interested in home ownership, we're doing what we can to try to create those opportunities. So I certainly don't have a kind of a full list of resources that is matches the scale of single-family housing in the city, but it is something that we are trying to figure out. How do we redirect resources that we either have or might have in the future to address those issues?
Really quick, I want to mention City Council. Myself and my colleagues did support, with the support of the coalition, a right to counsel ordinance. I hope you are aware of that, which will provide free counsel to low-income families that are facing eviction. So this is a way to protect and stabilize our neighborhoods and hopefully prevent evictions, because the majority of the eviction cases that you see going to court, tenants are not represented. They don't have attorneys. And so this will provide free counsel, free attorneys to low-income families. And so I'm very proud of that ordinance. It should go into effect sometime late October. And hopefully, again, that will help with some of the eviction rates that we're seeing throughout the city of Detroit. Also wanted to mention this idea of how we define affordable housing. Our office has been working on a Detroit AMI ordinance. A Detroit AMI ordinance, where we're not looking at Livonia and Warren, but Detroit's area median income, so that the housing that we're building, that we're preserving, actually reflects the income levels of Detroiters. How we do that via an ordinance legally, we're working on it, but I just want people to know that that is something that is very important to me as we talk about what affordable housing actually is. All right, our next person.
Good evening. I am Tony Evans. I am a family advocate for Wayne Metro Community Action Agency, also a resident of Dexter and Davidson area. But I'm not here for that. I am here for my son, Justin, who is trying to help the homeless. So he's 12 years old, and he said last year, Mom, I want to do something for the homeless. So we got some hats and gloves and some donations and things like that. But we didn't have the resources, or we didn't know about partnerships and how to get those things out there. So that's what we're here for. God has put something on Justin's heart, and I'm here to foster that. And so if I can get any information before we leave, so that we can help the community and be a part of a winning team.
Thank you so much, Justin, for that. And we have tons of opportunities. We actually have a coat and hoodie drive this Saturday at Zussman Park on Dexter and Davidson. If you would like to come join us and pass out gloves and hats and scarves, etc., we would love to have them there. All right.
Hi, my name is Stacy Vaughn Covington, and I am the Executive Director of the NOAA Project Detroit. Thank you, Justin. I'll be talking to you in a second. We need you down there. My question is in regards to addressing the severely mentally ill. We're a no barrier drop-in center located downtown in the city of Detroit. And I'm just going to give you an example of the people that we get walking in with the unaddressed severe mental illnesses. I had someone sitting in front of me yesterday with the razor blade to his wrist. Unfortunately, I keep asking about the crisis intervention team. How do we get in touch with them? I'm told call 911. I've called 911. They say call the crisis line. Call the crisis line. They say call 911. Police show up. There's no social worker. I've written the chief's office. I've tried to reach out to various places, and we get no response. It's like we're just sitting there alone, helpless. We get clients busting windows, hurting other individuals, and then we have to put them out and bar them from the organization, which is, for me, a last resort, because I want to provide a lunch and a safe space for them to be during the day when they can't be at the shelter until it's time for them to go back. Unfortunately, it puts the staff and other clients at risk. So I feel like we're going in this circle with no response, and then I see on TV the crisis intervention team, but when we call, no one shows up.
Police department?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
They're not operating citywide right now. I think the chief's goal is to try to have it citywide before the end of the year.
Okay.
They do need additional funding as well, in the case that we just all saw with Mr. Porter. Unfortunately, shows the need for more money and funding in that particular department for de-escalation of mental health situations so that the police department doesn't have to respond. But I'm not sure the exact question, but we're looking at ways to fully fund that and make that a citywide initiative.
Okay, and then once that is funded, could the information be disseminated to where it's clear?
Yeah.
A number to call, what steps to take, and then that way the pressure is taken off various organizations when those individuals are coming in and staff just don't know what to do.
For sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're going to take one more. I think you are the last two who are in line here, because we want to make sure we respect everyone's time. We want to wrap up at 8, so come right on up.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kia Mathis. I'm the Housing and Family Engagement Organizer at Detroit People's Platform. I just wanted I need a clear picture of like what you would consider housing insecure, the current homeless population, and also what's the projected, what are you expecting, anticipating? I don't have a number for that. If you guys have that, I know you gave a couple, everyone had their own number, but do we have that for the city of Detroit? So we would, like that. Also, Julie, I know you answered my colleague's question, but I don't understand. I'm looking for quantity, like size of units, like when we talked about, all the units that would be developed. So what are the sizes? Because one of her points, of course, was we have families, and so families need more than just 1 and 2 bedrooms. We are seeing that a lot. So we think about quantity, we mean the size. What is?
I don't know off the top of my head. There's 22,000 regulated units in the city. That's not something I know off the top of my head. So we've been working for about 5 years to build a database to try to actually identify some of that information. So it's on the Housing Navigator website. The Housing Navigator website, we're trying to make sure that it does break down the unit size for each of the buildings that are on that particular site. So it's information we have, it's information we're building, but I don't know it off the top of my head.
Sparkling Waters with the League of Indian Nations. I came here today because I've been homeless, living in my car and couch hopping since October 26th, when there was an illegal eviction in my house that I owned since 2009. Some judge signed it, and then they crossed out the numbers, and I had my door kicked in on my 2 children. So we've been through a lot of trauma and stress this last year. I came here because my mother has a relationship with Sheffield. She lives on Van Dyke. My grandfather was one of the first frogmen, was one of the first people to get a VA loan. So what I've seen out here in this, there is actually it's a national housing crisis, because I've looked all over the country. The prices are too high. People, their income cannot meet it. So unless there's the ordinance that you talked about doing, there has to be a cap on certain housing units and the size of it. There has to be a cap, because there is no way. Every living thing is bound by cords to every other living thing. That means no one is greater or no one is less than anyone else. You understand? So as a shaman, I come here to ask you all for help. I would love to get in the rapid housing program, because I work Uber. When the kids in school, I'm Ubering. My body tired. I want to lay down. I don't have money for a hotel. I'm tired. I just want to keep moving forward. And as far as homeless, I do have, as a shaman and an Indian chief, I also have plans for getting people into homes that is a lot less affordable by using container homes. I design them. I'm an architect. I brought a lot of the stuff that I have from other lifetimes with me. I'm ready to fly. I just need a house so I can fly.
That's
you
right.
Understand? I ain't know. So you got to look. There's a lot of different backgrounds with people. I have the equivalency of a master's degree. So everybody's not stupid that's homeless. Some people work hard. Like the time the sun come up, the sun go down. I'm making sure that my kids have what they need. So it's a lot of women out here like this.
Yes.
So I'm asking for help today.
And we're going to help you today.
Thank you. Ashe.
With all these service providers, we should be able to help you today. I'm just curious, though, have you contacted Cam and
no, but it's so, when you're trying to get help being in this, you don't know where to go. You look online, you get the rigmarole, you get the runaround. It's frustrating. So I had enough money saved up to move into a place, and then every time we would go and apply, because I also have a fiance. We've been married, and I can't even be with him. You get what I'm saying? Because every time we go and apply for some place, we're denied. For what? Everybody needs a place to stay. So some of these things that these housing organizations or companies are using to restrict people from having income, that have to go. Because everybody deserves a place to stay. As long as you're paying, hey, that's all it should be. Don't worry about my credit score. I'm paying you your money every month. You know what I'm saying? I'm keeping the house clean. What you worried about? Get out of my business. I'm just saying.
We appreciate you. And look at all that energy, you know, and she's going through what she's going through. We appreciate you. How should we want to make sure we connect you to this evening. Where do we want to direct? You going to, Mr. Bowser? Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll make sure. Yep.
Hello.
All right. Yes.
I'm not trying to monopolize, but
You already did that. I'm just playing.
I know,
I'm
and I
just
love you too. And I'll call you Dad. Listen, what I'm just trying to find out is my colleague was telling me to sit down because at Detroit Rescue Mission Ministry, we have a lot of shelters and large. However, I'm responsible for a grant that's called Gather, and it's gaining access to housing, employment, and recovery. And the primary purpose of it is screening individuals to coordinate them with mental health services. So I'm going to throw myself out there. Y'all can take my number. I'm also a field instructor for Wayne State University, and we're starting inside our shelters, but I can kind of coordinate to come to your shelters if your case managers or anybody, and you don't have those services, can identify individuals that need to be screened, and we coordinate those services. It don't cost them anything. So the main purpose of our grant is the screening. So it runs from now to the end of next year. But my email address is nkendrick@drmm.org. If you email me your shelter information, I'll also put you on there. Also, we're doing a presentation with Washington and different regions with the coin to work to end homelessness. So I threw myself out there.
Thank you.
My interns will come to your sites and we'll screen those individuals that have severe mental health and coordinate. We also have an MOU with All Wellbeing Services, so there are mental health provider, but there's also others within DWIN. So
all right, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and I'm sure people can connect with you at the end. I'm going to have you come on up, and then I'll do some closing remarks, and then we can adjourn the meeting.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Quinn Jones, founder of Veterans Lives Matter organization, and I'm here to speak on and try to get some resources for specifically these homeless female veterans and those fleeing domestic violence. It's a huge problem. We have women sleeping in their cars, sometimes in the VA hospital garage, sneaking their children in the morning to try to get dressed for school and things like that. We're running into all kind of red tapes and barriers, even with the social workers at the hospital that are supposed to be helping. One female veteran was told that she's not homeless because she has a car. I went and picked up a young lady fleeing domestic violence. I was on the phone 2 days for 6 hours at a time trying to find her somewhere to go. I spoke with Cam, I spoke with everybody I could. And there was nowhere for her to go. The courage that it takes to actually leave. And then there's nowhere for you to go. It's a problem that when they quit killing women like it's open season on deer out here, you know. So any resources that I can get here tonight would be helpful to try to help this population that needs it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can give you my business card. So and I can also make the connection with the VA to see what programs that they have for female veterans. And so I will definitely make those connections for you, as well as resources for domestic violence survivors and emergency shelter. The YWCA is really the only DV shelter in the city of Detroit, and obviously they can't meet the needs of every single survivor that is leaving.
Brother Joe, sorry to cut you off. Brother Joe, don't leave, please. Brother Joe.
No, that's okay. I know that there has been some domestic violence programs that have come through through the COC that will be for transitional housing or rapid rehousing for domestic violence survivors. So there's also some additional programs, and hopefully we had new agencies apply this year. Tasha, you probably could speak to this more knowledge, but I can't remember off the top of my, I think you're probably trying to remember too, off the top of my head, but hopefully we'll get awarded those dollars from HUD, and then we'll have additional programs for domestic violence survivors as well. We're just waiting on hearing from HUD how well we did in the application. But each year HUD does have, or at least the past couple of years, HUD does have bonus dollars for domestic violence projects. And so that is something that the Detroit Continuum of Care is looking at supporting as well. Yep. And I'll give you my contact information. I'll get it after.
All right. Thank you. Yes.
What I like to know is I have a nephew raising a 6-year-old son. He has a record. It's so hard to find housing if you have something on your record. He's working, but I just want to know, is there anywhere, someplace where he can go trying to raise a son and, you have something on your record and they just automatically, it's hard. So are there any resources for him?
Yeah, so typically that means that you'll need to work directly with the housing navigator. We have a really good member of our staff who's able to find landlords who are very forgiving, depending on the background. So I need to get your information so that I can get your son's information so we can see what we can do.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right. Well, we appreciate everyone for coming out. We really appreciate your time. Before we leave, I just want to shine a bright light on one individual. We always want to honor and elevate the work that people are doing around homelessness, and Brother Joe Ministries. Everyone give it up for Brother Joe. Brother Joe, come to the microphone really quick. I've been knowing Brother Joe since I first got elected back in 2013, and we would not be who we are as an office without Brother Joe. He does street outreach. He's out praying for the homeless, bringing them clothes, food, ministry. I mean, you name it. Doesn't get a dime from the city. Always is giving to us. I mean, even tonight, he brought cookies and chips for everybody. I'm telling you, when it comes to on the ground, street outreach, Brother Joe is just doing amazing work. So we honor you. We appreciate you, Brother Joe. And if you just want to say a couple of words, please do so at this time. How people can support you or just anything, Brother Joe.
I really wasn't ready for that. Thank you, man. Get me choked up here and I start crying instantly. I tell everybody I pastor a glorious nightmare with what we do on the streets. And thank you, everybody, for what you all do. And we just try to deal with people right where they are, just as they are, and I really don't have the whatevers to house people, though I wish I did, and so you're my heroes, and much to be done. My dad used to say when I was a kid, what are poor people supposed to do? And even as a boy, this used to be the old mission workers building here, and I don't think I've been in this building since like 82, 83, 84, something like that. And we used to bring some stuff by. There was several Methodist women that kept this thing running before the Detroit City Rescue Mission had it in the old Cass Corridor in the old days. So I've been here since I was 15 years of age. But let me encourage you, don't quit. There's needy people everywhere, as we all know. I know that I'm preaching to the choir, but for choir members, if you don't always get a solo, don't quit. If you don't get recognition, don't quit. If you do get recognition, don't quit. And I guess the big thing is just don't quit, amen. Because the abandos, the abandonmeniums, the squat houses, the trap houses and stuff like that, I don't know if they get counted in. And I sometimes think about, after 46 years, I should have seen it all. And every once in a while, I'll turn around and think, man, I ain't seen nothing yet. And so we need help. And when I say we, I'm talking we as a civilization Our country's got to come together. We have got to love each other despite of political differences and all the rest of this junk. You know, as a independent Baptist preacher out here trying to do something, gets a little weird sometimes. And I know you all know the one lady that said that a man that had a razor blade to his wrist. And in so many ways, all of our folks that are addicted have a razor blade to their wrist. With fentanyl in the streets, that is so terrible. Everybody has a razor blade to their wrist. So once again, just please don't quit. Amen.
Amen. Amen. All right. I just want to remind everyone this Saturday from 12 to 4 p.m., I will be hosting the second annual Covering the Community event, hoodie and coat giveaway. If you know anyone that is interested, please join us this Saturday at Zussman Park from 12 to 4 p.m. for our second annual Covering the Community coat and hoodie giveaway. And then lastly, if you could just mention how they joined the membership.
Here today that I wasn't even aware of, and we would love for you all to participate with the Continuum of Care by joining our general membership. The general membership meets about once every other month, and really just to get you all connected to all of the other people doing the work, I think makes sense. That way your voices are being heard by all of us, and we're able to communicate a lot better. In order to join the general membership, I would say, Tasha.
You can attend the general membership meeting. Our next meeting will be held on November 15th. It is virtual, so if you go to HAN's website, which is www.handetroit.org, you'll see information on there about our general membership meetings. There's also a way to sign up for our listserv so that you can get announcements. A lot of the activities around homelessness, funding opportunities and things of that sort, we announce through our newsletter. So that's definitely one of the ways that you can get connected is by joining our listserv so that you can get details on when things are coming in.
All right. And then lastly, I would be remiss if I did not thank my wonderful, beautiful, talented, gifted, smart staff. Karen, if you can stand, and Ari, raise your hand. These are the primary two individuals that were responsible for pulling this together. And if all my team can just rave, we just appreciate everyone, all my team, for being here as well, too. Thank you, Media Services. They came out and recorded this so that the general public can have a copy, and they'll be watching it as well, too. Thank you to all of you all for coming. We appreciate your time. You all be safe. God bless you. And with that, the meeting will now stand adjourned.